Overpowered weapons in fiction. That is what we are talking about in this video, okay? And understand this. I've talked about similar stuff to this in the past. I've gone over weapons in gaming. I've gone over weapons in, frankly, just stuff that I would rank by aura. And I figured, you know what? Let's do this by just how sheer overpowered they are, okay? Because one thing that I realized when I was ranking them off aura or usefulness is the limiting factor of a lot of these is my ability to wield it. Like, I'll give you an example. The BFG 9000 is a very effective weapon because it has the ability to literally delete an entire direction at a time. However, you can delete an entire direction really only one time because the recoil from that thing is canonically so powerful that it's like getting hit by a semi-truck that is on his third divorce and his 8th baby mama. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is the recoil from the BFG 9000 is going to turn you from okay to marmalade. That is no bueno, as I would say. So, but that's a cool weapon. That is. Then you've got stuff like the Infinity Gauntlet with, oh yeah, bro, of course, if I ever try to wield it, I'm going to get turned into I'm going to get turned into a T-cert real quickly. But then, it's still cool. It's still overpowered. And then that got me down a rabbit hole of overpowered weapons. And then we get stuff like the Black Fortresses from Warhammer, which literally have the power to, exercise chaos gods, and of course the Halo array from Halo, which if you thought the Death Star was overpowered, we'll talk about the Halo array in a second, okay? And then that turned into this video. I'm not even kidding you. That is literally my step-by-step of how this video came to be, and I just want to talk about it with you guys, okay? And if you think that's entertaining, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 250,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and we are on track to do it. Honestly, I think we're set for 250,000 by the end of August right now, and we're set. This is like roughly what it is, 500,000 by April 24th, and I just want to get to 500,000 before the release of GTA 6. That is my goal of mine. Okay, I want to be able to get that one done, and only you guys can make that happen. I can make the videos, but you guys are the ones that get me to that goal. So if you want to support me, if you enjoy my video, please consider like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get there before the end of the year, and a certain likes for this video. You know what? Let's go crazy. 4,000 likes. That's it. 4,000 likes for this video, and leave a suggestion of if I should do either a part 2 or another video idea that you want me to do. And with all that out of the way, let's go into most overpowered weapons in fiction. Let's go. The lightsaber. Okay, when we're talking about the lightsaber, here's the problemo, dog. It's a sword. Like, essentially, that's what it is. And I have one actually right here. I collected these from my travels. I'm just kidding. Here's the problem. Balancing is such a bitch with these weapons, dog. I mean, like, let me get this straight. So I'm going to be wielding the energy sword, and the blade is practically, actually, it is weightless. I know somebody's going to say, well, it's plasma. Okay, that's cool, little bro. But it also has the ability to be extended and distended, and I have to wield it. And I understand people are going to talk about, well, what do you mean by balancing? There's no weight for the actual blade. And it's like, then you're training with something, you're effectively learning how to wield imagination. That's essentially what we're talking about with a lightsaber. Because the only thing I'm going to be doing is I'm practically just waving around this entire thing, and imagine there's a lightsaber at the end of it, and that's essentially what's going on with this. And when you're talking about a lightsaber like this, and again, I am going to talk about it, I don't like how bottom heavy this is. I really don't. Okay, Luke, I understand Luke was desperate and all, but that is a very, very savvy lightsaber. Your father would be very disappointed with you. Now, Anakin's lightsaber, on the other hand, that was a bit higher quality, if I would say so myself. I understand that was built in a cave, but again, Iron Man built... I don't know where I'm going with that analogy. Okay, the point I'm trying to make with a lightsaber is the limiting factor of the lightsaber is purely your ability to wield it. And let's take that to the utmost degree. I have to have the force to effectively duel with it, okay? And that is the limiting factor of the weapon. You want to know something? You want to know something, boys? What do the Jedi and the Germans from World War I have in common? No, like, I'm not even kidding you. What do you think they had in common? They were bitching about us using in conflicts. I'm not even kidding you. Do you know what the hard counter to the lightsaber is? 12 gauge. I'm not kidding you, bro. That is in Legends. No, that's not even in Legends. That's in canon. When the Mandalorians were trying to make weapons to defeat the Jedi, one of the weapons that they found worked the best was literally a Very similar to World War I. Did you know that when the pump action was originally introduced into warfare, the Germans, Mr. "I'ma turn the fucking air poisonous" was the one that was the first one to start crying about it? Understand this, bro. The Canadians, our northern brethren, they be treating the Geneva Convention as a to-do list, okay? Even they weren't bitching about the pump action. And then Germans were like, it's an undignified way of conducting conflict. They don't even have to aim. Brother, you turned the air poisonous. What are you talking about? That's a little something we call foreshadowing, because you guys found a way to contain it and some sours for a very specific group of people. And at the end of the day, brother, I really don't want to hear about how that's really unfair. Get out of here, bro. I'm going to be real. I think I could take out the average Jedi with a good old 12 gauge. And that is according to canon. They're cool weapons. But at the end of the day, in terms of overpoweredness, that's all they really are. They're just cool. Somebody has to say it. Lightsabers are just cool. They're actually not that practical in terms of how you would be able to use them. Cool. The Omnitrix from Ben 10. There we go. Now we have some good stuff. Okay, the Omnitrix is at bare minimum it's an absurd. You can argue overpowered purely because of Alien X. And I'm gonna be real here. I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere that the one thing that the Ben 10 crew regretted putting in the series was Alien X. Because Alien X is so powerful as a character, they literally had to write a whole plot point over why they can't use him. For anyone who doesn't know, Alien X, I'm not even kidding you, is basically, I guess I'm going to lose this conflict, I'm going to go turn into God. That's essentially what it is, brother. Literally turn into, I need an alien that can just, reform the entirety of physical matter and then alter everything on a subatomic level and do that within a split second, to the point where the only limiting factor is essentially the the actual embodiment of justice are the only things that the limiting factor on me. And at the end of the day, brother, that's absolutely absurd. I understand a lot of the weaknesses of the Omnitrix are stuff that are literally built as a soft nerf in order to make it hey, you can turn into every single alien in the universe, but you can only be with them for a little bit, and then we're gonna fix that. I don't know, bro. Ben 10 was absolutely insane. I'm gonna put it in absurd. You could put overpowered only if I have Alien X, but Alien X is literally 90% of the power of the Omnitrix, but the Omnitrix with that 10% is still an absurd weapon. The Needler from Halo. I'm sorry, some of y'all are sleeping on the Needler. There's only one other weapon off the top of my head that I would actually argue is a little bit more effective, and that, actually, no, we're not going to cover that yet. The Needler suits projectiles that are self-guided, and when enough of them hit a target, they blows up. I'm sorry, bro. I think y'all are hardcore sleeping on the fact that they made a weapon that can literally go where the enemy is. To bring it back to World War I, okay, we made a weapon that you didn't have to aim and you would still murk a guy. And people were complaining we committed war crimes. Get out of here, bro. If the Needler was brought into actual warfare, and I mean just by weapon that could guide itself to its target, the amount of bitching that we would hear from some country in the middle of nowhere saying, well, that's an undignified way of conducting conflict. And do you know how we would respond? That's literally only 0.0000001% of our defense budget. You want to know why? Because we quintupled it. Okay, $5 trillion to the defense budget right now. That's what I'm saying. Okay, you ever seen a javelin missile? Brother, a javelin missile is a missile launcher that you... And then the missile takes a second because there's a supercomputer, not supercomputer, but there's like basically what would be a high-end supercomputer on the top of the javelin launcher. And it basically takes a little photo of the target. And then the missile pops out, doesn't immediately activate. And then it's kind of more or less in the air. It's falling. And then the missile that also has basically a brain in it is like, oh, okay. Oh, that's the target? How do you want me to hit him? From the heavens. I want our enemies to know that even God is not with them. Have the missile go literally straight up. And then hit it from the very top. Why would we create a weapon like this? Because tanks weren't made to be shot from straight downward. I'm not kidding you. The reason that we invented a missile launcher that literally learns how to hit something is because we were like, where is the least armored part of a tank? The top of it. Because who's going to be able to hit the top of a tank? Introducing the Javelin missile. Okay, the reason that I'm bringing up that story is because introduce the Needler. A Needler is a weapon that has self-guiding projectiles that are literally just rocks that blow up when enough of them are stuck in a target. Brother, that's crazy. I'm putting it in the Needler is the epitome of crazy, and I have to put it there. The mini nuke launcher from Fallout. Understand this, okay? As a young man in and of myself, if I told you that if you gave me a mini nuke launcher, I would not literally buy an RV and put it in the middle of a field so I could just, you know, do my own little test on what the mini nuke launcher would do. I do not care if I would get hit with a dose of radiation that would cause a pinky toe to sprout out of my forehead, and you can call me Unicorn Joe for the rest of my life. I would be launching that mini nuke straight into that RV until it has effectively been atomized, bro. And the local squirrels that are by the explosion are turned into little, like, shadows on an oak tree, like the inhabitants of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, okay? That's a whole other rabbit hole that we're gonna open up. But I'm sorry, bro. The mini nuke launcher is the epitome of, is it practical? Fuck no. Is it dope? Hell yeah. Okay, and because of that, I'm going to put it in crazy. Actually, yeah, I'm going to put it in crazy. It's not quite absurd at the same level that the Omnitrix is, but it is a crazy weapon, and I dig it. But I do got to be a nerd and remind you of this. By modern military standards, it's not even that overpowered, dog. I'm sorry. That might... You know what? Okay, if you want this, go in the comment section, make it a comment, and then like it up. I will cover just crazy weaponry that we have now. Everything from literally weaponizing a Bose speaker to a missile that decides when it wants to hit the target. Okay, I'm sorry. By modern military standards, the mini nuke launcher is chump chains. Weak. Get it out. We don't even have to resort to nuclear, bro. That's old man shit by right now. Who's Oppenheimer, bro? Introducing Lockheed Martin, boy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm putting it in crazy. Okay, we got a little bit too far. The Death Star. This is what I don't like about the Death Star. You want to know what I don't like about the Death Star? It insists upon itself. Okay, what do you mean? You made a space station the size of a moon. And its whole thing is that it blows up planets. Okay, so planets are very far apart. How does this thing get to it? Well, it has it has light speed. Okay, does it need to be the size of a Death Star? Well, no. It's like, okay. Do you know what would be more effective? If you literally just strapped a small version... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna rant about this. Ooh, I feel that rant coming on. I feel that rant coming on, bro. I'm feeling the venom come up. Okay. Oh, this is gonna hit. Okay. The fact that in the latest Star Wars movie, Return of Skywalker, or whatever the fuck it was called, okay? The fact in that movie, they actually say, oh yeah, we can just make little mini versions of the Death Star, and then we can put it on top of Star Destroyers, which are just the ships, and then we can bring those to the planets, and then we can blow them up. The fact that happened completely makes the Death Star one of the dumbest things ever created. What are you... Never mind the absolute hilarious level of impracticability that it is that'll blow up a planet. I'm sorry, dog, okay? Like... Why would you blow up a planet? To send a message. So you built a space station to blow up one planet. There were rebels on it. Okay, you know what, bro? I understand I'm an American and all, and then, like... I understand, like, we'll have, like, a drone strike that murks, like, 90% innocent people, and then 10% of people actually did it. And, like, I understand it's kind of ironic to be said, but, like, brother, this is, like, something that, like, America used to do. Like, what are you talking about? Let's blow up an entire planet because it has some rebels on it. I don't care if it's 1 billion of them. There was How about this? We aimed the Death Star to annihilate one Dude, I think that's more scary. You have a weapon that can annihilate everything from a small building all the way up to an entire planet. Just ice one continent to make everybody listen. Because now what you've done is completely nullify actually holding any level of territory. Because then we can just erase it. Brother, like... I'm sorry we're tying this back. We made a Hellstrike missile that is essentially a razor blade, and we have to know exactly where the target is at any time, because if they're driving in a beat-up 2006 Toyota Corolla, and one dude's in shotgun, and one dude's in the back of the car, and we have to figure out who's the target, we actually have to know where they are in the car, because the Hellstrike Razor Blade Ninja Death Missile is so accurate that we actually need to know where he's at. The point I'm trying to make is precision is more terrifying than... let's just blow up a planet. But we're talking about overpowered. It's just overpowered, but it's overpowered because it feels like it's overcompensating. It is overcompensating in the same way that a 5'2" man that a 5'2" man getting in a bighorn Dodge Ram. Okay, I'm sorry, but we're getting way too into it, bro. Overpowered, but I hate the Death Star, bro. The Death Star's so dumb to me. Like, just dumb. Overpowered, but I'm dumb. The Green Lantern ring. Now, this is overpowered in a fun way, but I can understand narratively it's very frustrating. This feels like something that was invented by somebody in the 1970s and was like, hey, yo, bro, let's create a, oh, yeah, give me 15 more Marlboros, bro. Yeah, bro, what I made is I made a ring that could effectively do whatever you want, and it's based off your willpower. Huh? I'm sorry. Like, I listen, Green Lantern's a cool character. If you tried to introduce this today, it would be seen as one of the dumbest things of all time. Because it is so hilariously overpowered that I would actually put it in the same level of a Death Star. Because... technically, if your willpower's infinite, you couldn't make a Death Star. And I'm not putting it in the top tier because there is something that I would argue that is in the top tier and does deserve it. But I'm putting the Green Lantern ring in overpowered. The BFG 9000, boys! Okay, when we're talking about the BFG 9000, as I said in the middle, the recoil that you're getting hit with by the BFG 9000 is equivalent to a semi-truck hitting you at about full force. Yeah, you're getting turned into a jelly by this thing, okay? And if I'm being honest here, is that still overpowered? Yes, very overpowered. In fact, I would actually put that in an absurd, if I'm being honest. Now, what's the difference between a BFG, a Needler, and the Fat Man? Why does the BFG go above both of these? Because it is a combination of both. It is a weapon that can effectively delete an entire direction off the map. Let's run it back a little bit, okay? There was a little conflict that the U.S. found itself in, and it was between, maybe, we don't know, some U.S. forces in some places that maybe might be fighting on a very well-known country that was fighting on behalf of a country that rhymes with USA. Okay, USA. Okay, and then they find themselves in a little bit of conflict, but it's more or less like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay, it's kind of annoying. And then the U.S. basically says, hey, yo, bro, what direction are they in? I don't know. They're coming from the east. And then the U.S., okay, Mr. We don't got healthcare, but we got warfare, comes in and literally gets rid of a direction. And one of the first things that we say to these people that may or may not have been fighting on behalf of USA was, hey, were your men east of our base? Is like, yes. Well, the east is gone. Ah! I'm sorry, bro. Triple the defense budget right now, man. That's insane. And the BFG is that, dude. The BFG, I don't know where it came from. It feels American because there's nothing more American than literally skipping out on any type of healthcare and literally deleting a direction in response, bro. There ain't gonna be no healthcare because your body's not making it out, okay? Absurd. The Infinity Gauntlet. I understand that somebody is going to say, well, the Infinity Gauntlet actually doesn't do anything out of its home universe. And checkmate. Oh my gosh, bro. Your nerd fedora energy absolutely silenced me. Wow. Now, for the sake of the video, let's pretend that we're in the Marvel Universe. Okay, let's have some fun. This is why I created the top tier. Why would you use it? It's so broken that it loses any level of practicality because there is nothing that you would be doing in region that would cause it to be worth it to be vaporized and turned into a T-shirt. Okay? Your family's gonna be on GoFundMe after you use this. That's how overpowered this thing was. The Infinity Gauntlet is going in what would be our S tier. And why would you use this? Because there is no reason to use it. Yeah, bro, it can control space, time, all of that. Okay, what are you doing? I'm going to get rid of half of everybody. Wow. Amazing. Yes, that would technically work for a time, but at the same time, brother, grow up a little bit. You don't need to be doing all of that, dude. You know what? Snap and get yourself some women. Snap again, get yourself some money. Okay, I'm sorry, like getting rid... I've already talked about Thanos, that's the Marvel movie one, but I'm putting it in why would you use this, because why would you use this? The Yamato from Devil May Cry. It is a katana that is so sharp that it literally slices through the fabric of reality and it causes you to teleport. And no, that's not like a joke or anything. It is literally that sharp. It can cut through anything. The only limiting factor is myself, and it is an absolute absurd level weapon. And I can't put it at the same level as a Green Lantern ring. I just can't. It is not even a smidgen of a hesitation. It is going in absurd. Titans from Titanfall. Okay, now the reason I'm including the Titans is there's one other thing that's technically in the Titans that I do want to bring up because of how stupid it is. But hopping inside of a mech that is low-key your little chat GPT buddy I don't know why that's so funny. Imagine if AI, we're talking about AI being introduced in warfare. What if it's not for anything that will it's like a weapon system? It's literally just Cortana. You can customize your personal AI to be like a loved one back from home, and that's supposed to potentially treat some PTSD because you actually have a loved one and they go through a brain scan of somebody, and that is your Cortana. And you could play with that too, where it's you join the military because your wife died in something, and then they are able to get a scan because they have basically all her entire digital footprint to take from, and then they take messages that you had, turn that into an AI, and that is the thing that is talking you through committing war crimes. Dude, that is the plot of a movie. Wait, no, that's basically Halo. But same. People need to play into that a little bit more, dude. That could work as an insane sword film. But now take that. It's a Titan, and it's carrying in its eyeball one of the most overpowered force multipliers I have ever seen in my life. It is a weapon that has the ability to insta-lock headshot anything that you even somewhat push in its direction. The only thing that you have to do is hold down the trigger long enough for enough... dude, that is long enough time for everything that's in front of you to get deleted. I'm sorry, but everything, the mech and the force multiplier, that's absurd. That makes it into absurd. Is it as powered as any of these? I would take a Titan and what's in its eyeball more than I would take a Needler and a Fat Man or a mini nuke launcher. It's that crazy. It's that crazy. The Deathnote from Deathnote. Now, somebody said, well, if you had Shinigami eyes, it's a little bit more overpowered. And I'm here to tell you that is negligible at best. I'm sorry, dude. You would be able to find out dude, the most unrealistic part about Deathnote is the fact that he needed the Shinigami eyes in any reasonable sense. Understand, the detective, is such... anyone doesn't know, the Shinigami eyes basically means that whenever I look at you, I can see your name and how much time you have left on Earth. And if I see your name, I can write that down in a notebook, and you instantaneously leave our realm. And now I can decide how it happens, or you just die of a heart attack. And that is the Deathnote. That is overpowered. Very overpowered. And the Shinigami eyes, honestly, adds a little bit more on top, but it's still broken. And the reason why it's still broken is you don't really need it now. L is such a that is the only way where you, technically a Shinigami eyes would be applicable. In the modern day of social media, oh my goodness, you would find out everybody. It's overpowered. And you know what? I'm putting it above the Death Star. You want to know why? Because precision is more terrifying than casualty. Precision is what is scary. The fact that you can do all of that, but you only have to do this much. That is scary, dude. Precision is better. The Elder Wand from Harry Potter. Okay, Harry Potter is one of... Okay, you know what? I roast Harry Potter all the time. But it's kind of funny that the most overpowered thing in the entirety of the Harry Potter universe is literally just a wand that makes all your spells like 10 times more powerful. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'm going to be honest with you. Tell me what would win in a fight. Virgin Elder Wand or Mega Giga Chad F-22 Raptor. I'm sorry, dude. I maintain it. The Wizards would get absolutely mopped up before the end of Labor Day weekend if they were to go against the Muggles, okay? Because they don't even know how to use an automobile. We've moved to subsonic, okay? We've moved to past sonic. I can't. The Elder Wand is crazy. Is it absurd? Maybe it is. But I got a vendetta against him. And I'm going to be real. Who do you think wins in a fight? Needler or Elder Wand? I think the mini nuke in some scenarios would be able to beat somebody with the Elder Wand. I'm putting it in crazy, though. The Halo Array from Halo. Yeah, you know the Death Star? You see, the Death Star bothers me because it's basically meant to be like the biggest stick, and that's supposed to be like the, hey, everybody do what I gotta do because I could blow up your planet, okay? The Halo Array was created as a survival tool, and that survival tool was literally deleting all of sentient life to starve out what is basically dust of God. That is the Flood. I have explained the Flood so many times on this channel, it's become a meme. I'm not explaining the Flood again. I am explaining the Halo Array. The Halo Array are all these Halo rings that, if they are all fired at the same time, gets rid of all of sentient life because that's what the Flood uses as an hors d'oeuvre. We need to starve the Flood. The Halo Array is so powerful that it was used as basically committing Minecraft save quit for the entirety of everything and then bring them back a couple billion years later. The Halo Array is so broken, it's in a why would you use this? Because there's literally no other option. The funniest part about the Halo Array is that the Forerunners fired it and then just chose not to bring themselves back because they didn't want to deal with the Flood. That's humanity's problem. Why would you use this? There. Blackstone Fortresses from Warhammer. Okay, now, I think the Blackstone Fortresses actually I think they're more well done than a Death Star. For anyone who doesn't know what a Blackstone Fortress is, they're essentially these big space stations that were made by the Necrons in the old ones. Maybe one of them, maybe both of them. We don't really know. It's kind of left very vague. Billions upon billions of years ago. And what they were created to hurt gods. It was basically meant to concentrate fire at gods. It is so powerful that it has the ability to nullify the void. Or not the void, the warp. And the warp is basically, every time that you go into, what is it, hyperspeed, you have to go through the warp, and the warp is hell. Literally hell. Just chaos gods, everything. And the Blackstone Fortress, his way of dealing with that, is that it's so powerful the chaos gods just say, fuck it, I ain't working with that, dog. It can hurt me. I am literally not even a thing. I am the embodiment of an emotion or a fear, and that thing has such a big weapon that it can hurt me. That's terrifying, okay? And that's when we're talking about the Blackstone Fortresses. There's 6 of them, and one of them was used to blow up a planet. When I mean by blow up a planet, it didn't fire a weapon at it. It literally ran into the planet and broke it. And the reason why I'm okay with that in like the world of Warhammer and not really so much in Star Wars is because in the world of Warhammer, one planet means absolutely nothing, and it was done by the armies of chaos. And the armies of chaos wanted grand casualty. I'm putting the Blackstone Fortress in... Honestly, why would you use that? It's basically the Halo Array, but it hurts gods. I have to put it there, dude. And there you go. Those are some of the most overpowered weapons in fiction, okay? Kind of a normal Ethan. Yeah, this is a normal Ethan on everything video. I got a few other things that I got to get done. We got an analog horror, different type of videos coming out Thursday where I want to explain it a little bit more edited, a little bit more fun. We have a few other videos that are going to be coming out. We're hitting a very good stream with the channel. I'm going to be throwing out some content that isn't tier list videos because those are starting to do a little bit better. And that is probably going to like slightly slowly move into different types of content for the channel. Same me yapping, just not in tier list mode, mostly in other types of modes, and it's going to be really fun, okay? We're about to hit 200,000 subscribers, absolutely insane. I think we're going to hit 250 by the end of the year, and I do believe we're going to hit 500,000 before the release of GTA 6, but again, that's only possible with the support of you guys, and I would absolutely appreciate that. We're looking into getting to a merch deal done. We're probably going to drop like 2 t-shirts. It's like a one-time drop. We'll see how it goes. We have a lot of stuff coming to the channel, and please subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay notified. And I cannot wait to potentially see you in the next one. Adios, guys.